Welcome everybody. So glad to be here today. I'm Susan from the chamber. I think tomorrow's Veterans Day, and I know a lot of folks are observing Veterans Day today and tomorrow. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank any of our veterans, all of our veterans. Any here today, Chris? Any of our veterans to stand up? All right. Our sponsor for our Friday talk today is the Council for Drug-Free Youth and Miss Andrea. We're going to flip the program just a little bit because our speakers have another meeting that they need to go to. So we're going to introduce ourselves so we can all know who's in the room. Then we're going to hear our program, and then we'll go around and hear from our sponsor and make any member announcements that we might have. So, who wants to start with introducing? You want to go ahead?
I'm Andrea Holloway. I'm the executive director with Council for Drug-Free Youth.
I'm Adam Byerly, CEO of the GamePay. Wayne Elliott, staff engineer, Bill engineer.
Deb Bushman, Holland Family Chiropractic.
Nicole Ray, I'm self-employed, I'm an entertainer and event curator.
Stephanie Lehman, CNS Employment Solutions.
I'm Rob Shaw, Unified Digital. Dan Basel, Home Helpers.
Mine more and Allie Younger from this health.
Very Lesson, Healthy.
Gary Plummer with Chamber.
Lori, this is the chamber.
Kathleen Woodruff with SBA Home Business Consulting.
Sylvia Wilson, CEO and owner of Sylvia Wilson.
Hello, good morning. My name is Julius King, attorney at law. I'm owner of King Legal Consulting. Thank you.
Terry Raddick, retired.
That's Catherine with Liberty Family Medicine.
Jessica Covington with SNS Nationwide.
Sarah Short-Hose, also with SNS Nationwide, and Sarah James Photography.
Don Keeper, U.S. Bank Business Banking.
Brandon Ricker, city administrator for City of Old Summit.
Cameron Gerber with the News Tribune.
Jason Aki, owner of Dick Atkinson Construction Company.
Mike Lester, City Council, Ward 2.
Cable Wolvers, Chamber of Associates, also with your Dolls Club.
You want to introduce yourself now?
Brian Crane, City of Jefferson.
Ron Fitzwater, mayor, City of Jefferson.
Carrie Bloss, Nothing But Cakes.
Jamie Meyer, customer promotional branding. Michael Love, First Man Bacon Trust Mortgage.
Darcy Crane, American Cancer Society.
Stu Murphy, retired.
Frank Reisner, Airport Committee.
Linda McNamee, I'm retired, but I'm a proud member of this organization. Thank you for joining. Rochelle Weaver, Cumulus Media.
South Carolina, retired.
Kiara Johnson, founder of the nonprofit We Speak Foundation.
Roland, Uncle Raleigh, Bradley Kellerman with the Boy Scouts of America. Christopher Scott with Farmers Insurance.
Katrina Tinnen, Central Bank, and Red Slipper Warrior Project.
Tim Tinn, founder of Red Slipper Ward Project.
Amy Hughes, House of Brokers, Realty.
Rebecca Brown, Chamber Staff.
David Brandy Rodriguez with B&D Investments, Academy of Innovative Owners, and Relief Cafe. Tim Shoup, Jefferson Bank.
Did we miss anybody? I, Lori? Okay, good. What about, okay, come on. Oh, yeah, Jesse. Yeah. What about online? Does anybody that's online want to unmute themselves and let us know if you're here?
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Ashley Varner, Hitachi Energy.
Hello, Doug Cruz with Clarkston Nelson.
Christy DePierre, Marketing and Advertising.
Paula Benny with CNS Employment Solutions.
Lorelei Schwartz with Schwartz and LaCure.
Darren Heckman, High Five Communications.
Ashley Timmy, Chamber Staff.
Mitchell Fimler with Nabholz Construction.
Is that it? Anyone else? Last call? Last call? Okay. All right. We've had some, Aaron, we just introduced ourselves. You want to?
Aaron Clark, Board Secretary, City of Huntley.
Good, good. Also, I want to recognize we had some new members. Some of them are here today. That and there's a great list there, some folks, Vincent Performance Partners, Central Missouri Workforce Development Board, the City of Fort Summit, BC Professional Consulting, House of Brokers, your local IQ, Columbia Village for you, Missouri Missing, SNS Nationwide, Shangri-La Dispensaries, Shiloh Hair and Beauty, and Sugar Riches Market and more. So welcome to members. So glad to have you with us. Hope that this, if you're at Friday Coffee, this isn't your first Friday Coffee, but you get an opportunity to meet some of these folks if you have not done so. So with that, I think we're going to change our program a little bit. Gary's going to go ahead and introduce our speakers and let them go now. Correct?
Very good.
All right.
Welcome, everybody. Have you ever heard of Symphony? We're glad to have you. This is probably the fullest this room has been since before the pandemic, so it's nice to see you all back here again. We're very fortunate today to have two speakers, Mayor Fitzwater, who's been in that office since April, after several years on the city council, and he'll be introducing the new city administrator, Brian Crane, who we're all getting familiar with. We've had him speak to a couple of other chief of groups in the last month, and we're excited to have Brian back in his hometown. Welcome, Brian. And with that, Ron, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Perfect. Well, thanks. I appreciate you inviting us. I've had an opportunity to speak to this group a little bit, so I'm going to let Brian do most of the talking, but I did want to just first thank you for everything the chamber does. When I had the opportunity to speak at the city county update this spring, we said we were going to hit the ground running, that Jefferson City was open for business. We had a lot of projects that have been kind of pent up, and we were going to get back to the business of this city and the things that are going on. You know, I know the chamber has been a great partner. I've always talked about 6 key partners for the city, and then we need to kind of ramp up our activities to catch up with our partners. And that being the chamber, the regional economic development partnership, Lincoln University, our school systems across the board, certainly the county, and you know, we always look toward the dome because state of Missouri is a very dominant player in this market. We're very proud to be the capital city. So we hit the ground running in April, and you know, got one of our council members here who's been a key advocate on many of the projects that the council has been involved with, and I'm very proud of the 10 people I get to work with. And you know, I usually say that we don't always agree, and that's a good thing. We need to lay things on the table. We need to talk about them, but Councilman Lester has been a huge advocate for keeping us focused on housing. That I think Brian probably talked about housing and some of the other issues the council is talking about. We announced a big project last week. I'll let Brian talk a little bit about that. One of the first things I had to do coming in as mayor was look for a new city administrator. We were very fortunate that we convinced our fire chief on the second go around to come in and serve as our interim administrator, and so to give the committee time to do the job and try to find the right person. We kind of all had in our mind a checklist of what we were looking for. I think Brian hit all those check marks and more. And we wanted someone dynamic that knew our community, hopefully was from this community, but we did do a nationwide search. We had 39 individuals. We had a good committee, a broad-based committee that narrowed that down to 20. We did some additional research, narrowed it down to 10, and then brought 3 in for final and formal interviews. And then the committee kind of gave me the ability to go through those, and I made a selection. We took it to council, and it was approved 10-0. So we're so excited to have Brian in our community. He grew up here, graduate of Elias High School, graduate of Lincoln University, William Woods, and was on city council 2004-2008 timeframe, worked in the Capitol, went to a couple other communities, including Holt Summit. So he kind of kept his eye on what we were doing here in Jefferson City. And then we found him up in Moberly, and we're so excited to have him here. So I'm gonna see the rest of the time to Brian, but we're so excited to have Brian Crane as the new city administrator here in the city of Jefferson. Brian.
Thank you, Mayor.
I have to interrupt for a commercial. This is just like a commercial break. We change this around. I did not know that our sponsor has to leave. So is it okay to do a little commercial before we're gonna just like suspense? Tell Andrea, tell me what about council for you.
I apologize.
No, that'd be great.
Sorry. Thank
I'll
you.
do it for you and you can do my presentation.
My name is Andrea Holloway. I'm the executive director with Council for Drug Free. We've been in this community since 1983, and we focus on substance use and suicide prevention among youth. So we work a lot with schools. We're proud to go into schools and be able to provide that education. We are a partner when it comes to providing that education. Not only are they getting it from parents, role models, teachers, etc. We're also another conversation for them because it should be a continuous conversation for them to have, age appropriate, of course. But we are proud to be here and hopefully go for another 40 years in the community. Something we are facing within this next year is we have a huge grant that we've had for the past 10 years to help us build our capability and extend into communities. We're not only here in Cole County, but we also go to Osage, Montauk, Miller, Camden, and part of Callaway County. So with this grant coming to an end, we're not re-eligible to apply. So we have a big chunk of money we have to build up and hopefully be able to continue and be able to expand even further. As you probably know, rural areas are lacking in resources, and we are very fortunate here in Cole County to have all these resources. And so we want to be able to continue that into the future. Because, you know, kids are our future and we have to help them and mold them into the citizens that we would like here in our community. And so hopefully you guys could be able to help us in reaching our $125,000 goal that we have to build up. Of course, we are looking into grants, foundations, things like that. But if you have ever written a grant, it's kind of like rolling the dice and saying, give me those 7 that need them. So, you know, like I said, we're continuing to do that, but that is our big goal over this next year. Because this time next year, we will probably, if we don't have that or meet that mark, we will have to eliminate some of the things that we do. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, and I do have a door prize and appreciate all of the support that we do get in the community. I just came from a Living Windows planning committee, so I'm kind of in the Christmas spirit. So I summer first, yes, it'll be really fun. We have a drone show this year, so but have this for you. I got a little bit of CDF rice wine, and then if you're not a baker or a cooker, I do have a coffee shop, you can go and get some pastries there, so. But you wanna go in your own? Thank you, guys. 10. All right.
Shoot, yeah.
I thought so. All right, okay. Okay, all right, thank you, Andrea, and I'm sorry we had a little transfer.
Ready? Well, thanks, Andrea. They do great work in our community and great to hear about that. Chamber staff, thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak about some few topics. Mayor kind of hit on a little bit of my background. And it's such a great opportunity for me to come back and one of the reasons I was so excited to come back is just to see a lot of familiar faces. So in this room, I see so many. I see Adam Biley, class of '97, who's in my class at Elias, and Stu, I can remember you doing a council retreat for us when I was on the city council in mid-2000s. Linda, I can remember doing a TV show at JCTV with you. So it's so great to see so many familiar faces, and for those of you that I haven't met, really look forward to engaging and getting to know you and your organization and try to provide resources on how the city can help. It's one of the things that I think is going to make Jefferson City great is engaging in strategic partnerships with various organizations throughout the community, and it's going to be critical. So many of the things that we do, we can't do it on our own. So we got to find strategic partnerships to try to elevate whatever we're trying to do, and whatever your organization's interested in doing. So if you ever have any ideas or thoughts, absolutely give them to me, and we'll try to kick them around and figure out how we can help and how we can be of assistance to any of your organizations. And Brandon, sorry for anything that you found in Old Summit, but it wasn't done exactly right. You only get 3 years to blame the previous city administrator. So I was there, I've been gone for a while, so you're in the clear. It's the other guy's fault. So I get 3 years, Mayor, to blame the previous city administrator. Isn't that in our code? Yeah. Well, thank you all. You know, I've had a long history in Jefferson City. My dad took a job at Elias High School in the early 80s. I was in Osceola, born in Osceola, Missouri. He was coaching there, took the job at Elias. So our family moved here, and we've considered it our hometown ever since. So graduated from St. Peter, graduated from Elias, Lincoln, William Woods. Then I started my career. You know, I tell people I was a paper boy in the 80s, and I loved that experience. Didn't get to sleep in on the weekends, had to throw papers, but it taught me a lot of my work ethic that I think I carry on today. Did the high school jobs, you know, worked at Steak and Shake, Hy-Vee Deli, and worked maintenance in the summers at Broadmoor Apartments. So I've had a long history of working in this community, and then went to Central Bank and worked in their travel department in the right out of high school. I was doing a marketing program for Nichols Career Center senior year, and working at the bank, and really got to deliver. This was back in the day of paper airline tickets. Did anybody remember those? It wasn't just a confirmation number, it was an actual ticket. If you lost it, you were in trouble. So I had to deliver tickets to a lot of different state agencies, and that's really where I got my thought of going to college and really being in local government and state government. I didn't know really what I was going to do, but it really sparked my interest delivering tickets and learning about all these organizations for years. And during college, I thought, oh, well, I don't know much about my local government. I'm taking a local government class at Lincoln University. Maybe I should go to a few city council meetings and see what this thing's all about. And I did, and then decided to run for the city council, was elected 3 times, left a little early on my 3rd term and decided I wasn't going to do state government. I was going to stay in local government. Took a job in a small town called Unionville, Missouri, just a few miles south of the Iowa border. So that was a great experience. They ran all their different utilities, including cable TV. So I got a lot of experience running a lot of different departments that cities operate. So it was a great experience for me. Did that for a few years, and then Holt Summit, I was able to come close to home and work for Holt Summit for a few years, and then Moberly, Missouri, called and was interested in me coming up to Moberly, and I thought it was a good opportunity. And had a great time in Moberly, and we did a lot of great things. We had a great team, and I'm really excited to be here in Jefferson City, and really think that we're going to develop a lot of good teams and a cohesive unit that can really try to elevate some of these projects that I'm getting ready to talk about right now. And you know, the mayor and the council has been so supportive, and I think we're going to do a lot of great things. I'm going to run through a few of them real quick. How much time do I have? Because I can talk about these long or short or quick.
It's really your meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
we've done most of our business. I only have a couple more.
Okay, so we should be, I can get through these
Yeah.
before 11.
Yeah.
First one that I wanted to talk about is, I think a really big issue. I'm sure everybody, their organization, family members, friends have all kind of felt the housing market crunch. It's really a national issue, but I think it's even exacerbated here after the tornado. You know, you look at our housing stock, we're just a little bit down from where we used to be, and we got a little population decline. So we really need to ramp up what we're doing here if we're going to be successful at creating additional housing opportunities for people in every market. The city council, a few years ago commissioned a housing study that really outlined, a lot of the challenges, a lot of the problems. I would encourage any of you that are interested in the housing challenges to look at that study from, I think, 2019. Maybe it's 20, right around 22. Yeah, so, it's a really good study, and what I like to say is, a lot of these things that, are being discussed here are national issues, and things that I dealt with in Moberly, had a lot of success in Moberly. And, the city's done a good job at studying the issues. So now it's a matter of just figuring out how we want to implement them and what parts of these studies we really think we could be successful with. So we commissioned that study on housing a few years ago, laid out a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different programs you can do. And I think what's important is for us to just really realize that, obviously the private market isn't keeping up with the housing demand right now, and there's a lot of reasons why, whether it's the cost to do business, the cost to build, interest rates, maybe it's some homegrown problems with permitting and process, or so many different things. But what we got to do is maybe focus on this as treating it more like economic development. I think you can see our economic development partners, chamber, are all looking at this as this is a workforce issue as well. So we've got a lot of different employers saying, man, I need more employees, but I can't get anybody to work for me because they can't find anywhere to live. So what are we going to do? So there's a lot of this discussion going on. And the city's got to treat it like economic development. What we do with economic development is with businesses is we try to incentivize it, try to foster growth any way we can. And we got to do that with housing. So you're going to see a concerted effort, and you'll see a lot of these programs. Some of them cost a lot of money. When you're incentivizing a big development, sometimes it's some type of a cash contribution to get it over the hump. Sometimes it's abating taxes, or adding taxes to pay for the project. All these types of things are things that historically we haven't done a lot of in Jefferson City, but I think we can in the future if we really want to try to incentivize growth in the housing market. So we'll look at those. There's a lot of good ideas in that study, a lot of good examples in other communities that have done this. Like I said, sometimes it's an expensive ask, but sometimes it's a real simple ask, like changing your codes. Making it a little easier for development. That's some of the things we did in Moberly and had a lot of success with. You saw just recently, I don't know if anybody saw the Light Tech project. That's a tax credit project that the council supported, the mayor supported on the 2 different developments in town. One's on Wildwood, one's right off Charm Ridge, Old Roman Road area. And those will help, hopefully those get funded. Those are really important projects to try to just keep opening the market up with new projects. But then there's also infill projects. We got a lot of lots, empty buildings, buildings that need to be torn down and redeveloped. We call those infill projects. I think we can focus on those. Sometimes those are a lot easier because you have all the infrastructure already. So there's a lot of different programs that we're going to be looking at that are identified in that study. We'll get those to the council. We've got a couple of committees that are working on these issues as well. And we'll really just try to foster that collaboration to try to get some real good programs out there for anybody that's interested in developing in the housing market, just like we do in the economic development market. So we'll continue to do that. Do you want to add anything on housing? You good?
Quick question.
Yeah.
The Light Tech projects were declined, they failed, right? You never not approved.
No, they're, last year.
So do they reapply?
They can. These are 2 different ones. Maybe one of them was last year too. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was 2 last year. One got declined. Actually, they both get declined.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this year, we had one from last year, one new one. And those, I just spoke at a public hearing last week. They go through a public hearing process because this is obviously a statewide competitive program. And I spoke in favor for those, and the council approved those in August or September probably. So we hope to hear in December, early December is usually when we hear back if, one's a 55 and older development, about 50 units. That's the one on Wildwood, and then another one's about another 50, and it's a multifamily, project right on Old Wellman Road. If you know where that is, kind of up from Modine a little bit.
And is the housing task force, is that a task force appointed by the city, or is that more organic that took the study and they're trying to get some traction? Because they really struggle, I think, to get traction.
Mayor, could you answer that one? You know?
Yeah, the task force was put together by the community, the city, and I think Councilman Lester participates. It's a broad group that the city has tried to. We try not to insert government, but we need to be a part of the process, part of the discussions. So we have been very active, and there's several groups, I think they tried to overlap where they can, and there's been some active. I put together just a small group just to make sure that we were focusing and keeping the city focused on it. But I think everybody points back to that study because it is a very well done study, very comprehensive, and it's timely. So, I mean, there are groups, but I don't feel like they're competing. Everybody's heading toward the same goal, picking out different pieces of it. December, that statewide commission will meet, and they'll pick the projects based on the funding they have. Hopefully we'll get, as Brian indicated, both of them. It's pretty unrealistic for a city to get 2 projects, but we'd like to at least get one and kind of start our way.
And part of that is, we also did and this is the one I think we did in 2019, a streamlining and permit processing analysis. And what I think at the end of the day, what you can see in that is we can do a better job of streamlining operations, getting the permits, getting the plans back to the developers as quick as possible with good feedback, and not slow down development, but try to really speed it up and get it going. So we're going to be working on an implementation plan over the next few months to really take a lot of the data that we found out of that study, and try to make the necessary changes so we're not getting in the way. We don't want to be an organization that's in the way. We want to be an organization that's helping with development. So we really got to change our mindset and say, this is serious. We got to be as focused as we can. Jeff City is not an easy community to build in anyway, just from the rock and cliffs, and blast and flat and stuff. Moberly, every yard seemed to be flat, dirt, and clay, and you could build real easy. And it's like you got to blast out a hillside to do something. So it's not an easy environment already. So we can't make it even harder. So we really got to just change that mindset. I was going to hit on a few projects, and probably the one that you've heard the most of recently is the conference center project. Now, this is one that we've talked about for quite a few years. We did a lot of work when I was on the council here, and it's exciting to see what I think is probably the right location and the right time and the right team to get this project done. So we're really excited about this. If you haven't heard about it, the parking garage on Madison Street is it's end of life right now. So we got to do something. We either had to replace it or fix it up. We did a study probably a year or 2 ago, and really the analysis was it doesn't make sense to remodel it or fix it because it's going to be close to the same amount of money, and really you're just putting a Band-Aid on. So that analysis came back. I think they were discussing it early this year. And about that same time, the MSP conference center idea was kind of losing traction. The developer and the city were not able to get that project done for a lot of different reasons. And it made us refocus on, well, what are the options for this location? And about that same time, I think the new Tribune site became available. So the city's going to be acquiring that at the end of this month. That's about, the new Tribune building and the parking lot area, if you know where that Madison Street garage is. So we'll have that full half block, and then it was a what if scenario. And with the team at JC Rep, they went through an analysis and hired a consultant to kind of say, can you fit all the elements that we need on this site? And when I first heard about it, I was like, man, how's that gonna fit? And they did it, and they showed us just one concept. You know, we don't know what the final concept's gonna look like, but you know, you're looking at a parking garage with a minimum of about 750 spaces. Currently, we have about a 600 parking lot facility there on Madison Street, but we only go up to about 500, just because of the way they have to move things around. And then about 200 room hotel on top, and about 36,000 square feet of meeting space. And it's exciting to see how it can fit. Some of the conceptual designs are really cool. And we're gonna move forward. We announced that last, a couple weeks ago, I guess now. And the RFQ is out right now to work with the developer. And I wanna be clear, this is a public-private partnership. This isn't the city building it or the city owning it long-term. Usually it's a public-private partnership where private developers can assist and come up with a model that works for the public side and the private side. So, we know we needed the parking garage. We're still gonna need the parking garage. We're gonna give it everything we got to get this project done. I can remember giving it everything I had in the mid-2000s. We got that lodging tax done. And that's created about a pool of, right now, I think right around $9 million in the bank. That is dedicated to that conference center idea. And I think if you look at our lodging tax rates right now, and you look at our occupancy rates, we really got to do something. We lost a lot of meetings, a lot of organizations that used to come to Jefferson City and help out all the other hotels, just are choosing other markets. It's because of the quality and the quantity of meeting space in our community. And it's starting to show up in our occupancy. So we got to do something. We got to have a laser focus on that. Any questions on that one, or any thoughts? Mayor, did you want to add anything?
No, it's just an exciting project. I mean, we see this as a premier site for the state of Missouri. We're not competing with Kansas City, St. Louis, France, and they've all got great facilities, but there's no other meeting facility that will be able to have guests look out the windows, see the state capitol, see the governor's mansion, be able to get out, walk to restaurants and shops and bars. And we think this is just an ideal and exciting opportunity. We've had a lot of positive comments. We want the comments to continue to come in, pro and con, because we've got a lot of things we need to address, but this is going to be an exciting project for all of Jefferson City. And I made the comments last week at the groundbreaker, the press conference, that this is where we put the flag. We're gonna build this facility, and as Brian indicated, we're working very hard to make it happen. I think the downtown businesses have kind of rallied around it and have been very supportive. So we're very excited. The Chamber's obviously been a great partner, and as Brian indicated, the regional economic partnership. So we're excited about the project. We've got a very tight time frame, but we're committed to holding to that the best we can.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what does this conference center do that Capitol Plaza does?
Well, it's about 3 times the size.
Okay.
So it's gonna take what an organization might be able to do for 500 to 600 people at the Capitol Plaza, and it's gonna put you into that 1,000 to 1,500 banquet style. So it's gonna be a lot, which has always been kind of the goal for the last 30 years. So it's always been the Capitol Plaza's, just not big enough. But I can tell you, from some of the market feedback we're getting, it's a challenge to go in the Capitol Plaza for a conference now. So I think we got to work with Capitol Plaza at the same time and try to get that elevated from where it was.
And just to tag on to that, I mean, I run a state association in my other life. There's no facility in town I can bring my meeting to, and many associations our size. Now, we're not going to hit the huge, the hospital associations, the big associations. But there are a lot in our marketplace that would like to come to the capital city, or at least put us on the rotation. It gives us the opportunity. I need Capitol Plaza about times 2 or 3 to be able to host my meeting, as many do. And then we had a meeting at the Truman with the state of Missouri, and as I was coming out, I ran into one of the department directors for the state of Missouri, and they said, this is gonna be the greatest thing, because we can start moving state meetings back to the state capital, which saves them on travel and having employees out of town, gives them a chance to showcase the capital cities. And he said, I know that there are gonna be other departments in the state of Missouri that are gonna wanna move their meetings back from other places. So we're not gonna compete again with the Kansas cities and St. Louis's. There are reasons that groups go there, but there's a lot of reasons people want to be in the capital city, and this will give us the ability to attract them back, as Brian indicated. We're losing meetings that have left town just because either we don't have facilities large enough, or the quality of the facilities, and people are just tired of dealing with it. And it impacts everybody, including our restaurants and all the other related industries around the hospitality industries. This is going to be a premier center for our size. We're going to try not to underbuild it, but we're going to try not to overbuild it as well. And we think we've got a niche market that we can fit very nicely. And, you know, again, no one's going to be able to stand at a reception and look at the governor's mansion in the Capitol and any other city other than this city.
Did we answer it, or you got another?
I do have a question. My name is Kara Johnson, and my question is, have you all estimated the amount of job growth that the project might create?
I think we have J.C. Rep to be able to tell you that number, but off the cuff, I can't remember, but it's over 100.
Okay.
Yeah, this type of facility, it's 30,000. The minimum qualification that we want on this build is 36,000 square feet ballroom, or 30,000 ballroom, 6,000 breakout, 150 to 200 in hotel rooms, and right at 750 in parking spaces. So it's a big build, and it's going to require a lot of.
How do you guys foresee that with the current hospitality place we have now? Do you think that there's future growth in that as well? Do you think that will affect?
For the like hotels?
Right.
Yeah, no, we think it'll be an added value to them. So if you look at that size of ballroom and the amount of, you know, when you're talking about having 1,000, 1,500 people come to an event and only having 200 rooms on site, that means a lot of rooms are gonna have overflow in other hotels. So I think the strategy has always been to a little bit underbuild the hotel so it benefits all the hotels. Because, you know, if you talk to a consultant and you say, we want 40,000 square feet, they're gonna say you're gonna need a lot more hotel rooms. So that's always been a strategy, to try to lift up all of them.
I think there was a question
There
about
was a
time.
question on Zoom. So what was the time frame on the RFQ for the conference center?
The RFQ, you know, we've got a scoring team that's gonna score those, once they get back to us in, mid-December.
December 15th is when they do that. We hope to have one selected that we can take to council in February.
Yeah, so once that happens, if we get that figured out, then we'll work the next year at, development agreements. Then it's gonna be about an 18 to 24 month build. So we're looking at early 17. To actually be open. Yes, sir.
So you said that it's a public-private partnership. Upon completion, there's gonna be revenue made off of this hotel. Well, where does that revenue go? Does the state become part of the, do they acquire some of that revenue? Does the city, the city acquire some of that revenue for other purposes? Like, what happens to the revenue?
Well, the revenue from like the hotels and the meeting space, typically on these projects, like I said, we got a development agreement that's gonna happen next year between the city and the developer. But typically the room revenue and conference center revenue, that's all gotta go back into the project to pay debt.
Okay.
So that's how you pay the debt. Obviously, the parking garage, you know, you pay on parking in the parking garage, and it pays for the parking structure usually. Like I said, we have a conference center lodging tax that helps subsidize that bill. Because really, the conference center space is usually a loss leader for the operation. So all those things are kind of thrown into the capital stack, and then you got to figure out how to pay back the debt. The central bank's they're gonna loan this. They're gonna, that's all right. Yeah. Yeah. You'll give us 50 million. Yeah, just 50 million. I think that was the number just for the parking garage when we did the study. It's about a $30 to $50 million parking garage. So these are big numbers. So obviously the revenue that's created on site, you know, let's go buy a soda or buy a drink or night in the hotel, that money goes back to pay off the capital stack. And, yeah.
So right now, the parking garage in Madison is very affordable to people who come downtown. In fact, a lot of times you just don't have to pay. So how will that, I know you'll have to work on that, but has there been discussion about that?
You don't have to pay? I'm checking into that.
What evenings and that type of stuff, yeah. So I understand that something new has a cost, but have you had discussions about, or do you have that in your plan to discuss? How are you going to make it affordable? Because people do use it for downtown shopping and stuff.
No, it does need to be affordable. Unfortunately, one of the reasons it is so affordable is because we haven't had the rates since 2005.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to actually take that into account and look at some of the costs associated. And the rates will be going up if the council approves. I think Public Works just recommended moving forward with a rate increase. It's a small rate increase. But we gotta run the parking fund like a business. It's really an enterprise fund when you look at it, and we're gonna do everything we can to keep it affordable. I think that's why a public-private partnership is so important. And hopefully it'll create some synergy there.
Quick question, and I read this on Facebook, so it's definitely true, but there's been a lot of talk about the old Truman Hotel that is the biggest eyesore when somebody's passing through our city down to the lake or whatever the case may be. And it's also come up that, okay, we could park 500 cars there now. We're gonna add, 250 parking spots. Parking's already a problem in downtown. There's a lot of times, depending on the time of day, I dread coming down here because I know it's gonna be a hassle finding parking. So maybe touch on, was there an agreement with Holiday Inn that they were supposed to build a conference center there? And why isn't that moving forward where it seems like we have more space and you'd be getting rid of an eyesore in Jefferson City?
Yeah, the Truman Hotel project, one of the things that I talked about earlier was how the occupancy rates are right now. And they're just at a point where, we've talked to the owners of that property and they're just not making much money right now. At 50% occupancy, there's just not a lot of revenue to do what they wanted to do. So I think they're waiting for the market to bounce back before they build. I think they had an idea of more conference center space and another hotel there. That's an about $1 million demo. So we're working really hard with them to try to identify economic development tools to help them do that demo and maybe just make it a parking lot for now. Maybe they can make it into something else because the market's just not there. Without this conference center, that there's, we're just really deflating our occupancy rates by losing all those meetings. So I think you're gonna see, hopefully, if we get this conference center deal done, that'll give them more business and give them more opportunity to do a redevelopment there.
Did you show them the Field of Dreams movie? You know that they're gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's gotta be a reason why that, it's an eyesore for someone to go to that hotel. There's a reason why they're not getting full occupancy there. 'Cause I mean, we have sports teams that come in and all kinds of stuff during the summertime. There's a reason why people don't go to certain parks because of the eyesores and a lack of business in those areas, so.
Yeah.
But just to tag on to that, part of the challenge that they've faced is the same challenge that every other site that we've looked at for the convention center. Is if I bring my members in town and other groups, now the state of Missouri would be a little bit different because they're coming in very specific, but if I bring my members, a lot of times it's connected to something going on at the Capitol. So now I've got to figure out how do I get my members from Jefferson Street to the Capitol? Or from, there was a plan to put it out at the mall, from the mall to the Capitol, or from the Capitol Plaza to the Capitol. The exciting thing about what we've got is it's right downtown. You can walk and you can get people to events. They're not restaurants, they're not bars other than what's in the Holiday Inn, other than to get your vehicle. So even though, they had plans to put a conference center there, we still had the challenge of how do you get your members downtown and utilize the services. So I think that's part of what they found trying to build a conference center there. Part of the challenge we had at MSP, part of the challenges we had with the mall project. There was a proposal maybe to put it up where the old St. Mary's was. You've still got how do you get people that can see the Capitol, but how do you get them to the Capitol? So that was part of the thought process and part of the challenges I think they had when they first proposed, because they were going to put a second hotel there in a conference center in the middle, but it just didn't meet what the meeting planners were telling us they needed in a center. And we never had the opportunity until, as Brian indicated, the garage deteriorating, the ability to buy some property that, we really never thought about, the News Tribune, and saying, hey, now we've got half a block downtown that we can really do something exciting.
Brian, is there anything else you want to kind of touch on? I know we, on your meeting before we.
No, well, I'll just talk real quick. What I wanted to convey is that Capitol Avenue really got a lot of exciting things happening. So I wanted to let everybody know, the conference center is going to be really cool. But as you go east towards MSP, the shift of focus doesn't mean we're not going to do anything at MSP. And then you got this redevelopment area between the two on Capitol Avenue where we had a lot of homes demolished or affected by the tornado. And it's going to give us an opportunity to really work with the private development community and see if we can't do some really cool things along Capitol Avenue. So as we go down Capitol Avenue, you'll see all the empty locations. And we're really hoping to see what we can do to incentivize. We're going to send out some RFPs on the ones that we have control over to try to get redevelopment there. Then on MSP, the focus was trying to figure out a conference center there that fell flat. Luckily, we've got a lot of partners on that site, and we're going to do a lot of cleanup over the next year at that location. The state of Missouri is going to kick in on building Chestnut Street out with us. The county's also providing resources. The state's announced what they're calling One Health Lab, which is about $150 to $180 million project on the east side of Chestnut Street. So we're going to try to clean that property up. Housing Unit 2, Housing Unit 5, what's called the old saddle tree and the wall, all needs to be removed or repurposed. State of Missouri's got some ambitious plans about the historic site, which is building 1, 3, and 4, which is kind of the old stone looking buildings where the tours are going on. How many people have done a tour over there? Quite a few. Good. If you haven't, it's really cool. I haven't done the ghost tour. I don't know if I will. Might not sleep good. So that's going to be a really cool site. Hopefully State Park gets involved in that, and hopefully see if we can continue to do those tours. And we have a really cool site that we can make available for redevelopment and housing as well. So we still got a lot of things going on in MSP. It's when you add it all up, it's about $7 million worth of cleanup, which is one of the reasons I think we really struggled with redevelopment there. So our goal is to maybe clean it up and they will come. So we'll see. But of the $7 million, really about $2 million of that city funds. So the rest of it's other partners.
and we did get a grant for about $2 million. So a lot of leveraging the funds, and I think that's what you're gonna see us focus on, going forward with all the projects we do, is how do we leverage our funds and try to acquire more grant funds or other strategic partners to help, with those costs. That's really all I have. Is that good, or?
That's good.
I mean, I've got a few other things to talk about, but
If you want to just.
those are the big ones. We got a Wildwood extension project, that we're hopefully moving forward on over the next year. You'll see Wildwood extended, hopefully some housing, some other development opportunities up there. We're starting to talk about Monica Drive and what that looks like in the future and how we can partner. Those are both county city partnerships. The viaduct's another big one. If you haven't seen, some of the plans or, do an open house, but we're looking at opportunities for redeveloping the viaduct. It's probably gonna be something different than what it is currently, but hopefully achieves the same traffic flows for that area. So I think that information is online. I think we posted it, but there's a handful of options to look at it. We're kind of in that feedback mode, so if you have any thoughts or ideas on the viaduct, that's a project that we're going to do over the next few years.
With Ryan, I'm afraid we're gonna have to put that in wrap up this.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you being with us.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna make a few quick announcements, and I'm gonna go in reverse. Thank you, gentlemen. If you need to leave, you can, and I'll go through these slides. The current breakfast, will be November 22nd. So encourage you to, purchase tickets and attend at the wonderful event at the Farm Bureau. Keynote speaker is, Governor Mike Carson. So glad you joined us for that. Another networking event that we have like this is Chamber Connection. We always have them on the third Thursday at a different chamber member, bar or restaurant. November 16th will be at the Water Tower Bar and Grill. Our sponsor is Marble Graphics, along with, the Zimmer Radio Group. So please you to stop by there, bring your business cards and network. This event, your Friday coffee, we are opening up the schedule for 2024. So if you'd like to be a sponsor, kind of like Joseph for Drug Free Youth, you can do that. We partner with Cumulus. Michelle, I don't know if there's anything you want to say about the partnership there. You guys. The calendar goes up for $150. You get the recognition with the chamber emails, and then you get to work with Michelle. She'll make a radio promotion for you about your business, and so it's really a great opportunity for you. We encourage you, if you have not considered being a Friday Coffee sponsor, to do so. That's all we have about Cumulus. So thanks again to the Council for Drug Free Youth for being our sponsor. So unless anyone has a quick announcement that they would like to share with the group, with the good of the group, anyone? Anything going on? Member announcement, round room?
Friday night being a Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Thursday, our radio stations will be out of ID collecting food for the food bank. So stop by ID anytime on Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Anything else?
Okay.
Any other announcements? Anybody online want to announce anything? Okay, let's see, I have an announcement. In 2024, Friday Coffee is going to be held every month. You know, last year we did every other month, so we're back on track. So in January, we're going to see you on the 12th, and we'll see you every month. It's always the second Friday from 9 till 10. We'll be able to change information either in this room or by Zoom. So, right, that's good. Yeah. Right there, everybody. Oh, here, you have for one reason.
I do.
From Dudley Monday. Don't leave if you want to live on Monday.
I will stay right here.
And 10-10.
Okay.
No.
That's true.
Good to see you.
Get out there.
Before then.